to see ourselves as implicated? Some years ago, Gordon got a $2 million grant from the Lilly Endowment, programs in the theological exploration of vocation. 90 schools across the country got grants like this. Boston College got one. Notre Dame got one. 90 schools got them all over the United States. Programs in the theological exploration of vocation. I was drawn into this grant a few years later by the endowment asking, what do you think about what we're doing with this? And I said simply this: while it's a great gift to give this money to Gordons and to Notre Dames and Dukes and Davidsons and Pepperdine's and on and on and on, really. Actually, the years after you get out of school are harder years. They're more difficult years. Because once a student leaves full of visions of vocation and finding his or her way down into the Bostons of this world, into the New Yorks of this world, up into the Concord, New Hampshires of this world, you see, what they will meet is the realpolitik of the marketplace. And they may be able to find a job. That'd be great, actually, if they get a job, actually. But to find a vocation, that'll be harder, actually. But if the realpolitik of the marketplace was its own great challenge, what I said to the Lilly folks was this: there will be a real ecclesiastique in the church that'll be even harder in some ways. Because if the churches they enter into don't preach or pray as if somehow this vision of vocation is a meaningful part of the liturgical life of the congregation, you get to be 28 and 29 and 30, and you look back and think, I didn't know any better when I was 21. It's a great idea, those ivory tower conversations when I was a student at Gordon, but the real world, the real church just isn't like that, is it? I have 3 friends who used to be younger friends, now they're older friends, who at one point in their lives all sat in this room where you're sitting today. They came to be my students in Washington, D.C. over the course of years. One was a young man named Harry Zeiders. Harry grew up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, from Japanese and Anglo parentage, a sadly broken family. His mother went back to Japan when he was just a little boy. He was raised by his grandparents. Sent off to Gordon, he came to Washington as a political philosophy major with a very bow-tied seriousness about him. Always looked very, very proper. Wanted to go off to do a PhD in political philosophy, and he had a good scholarship offer from Catholic University to do so. But at the very same time that was coming up, his grandparents began to age in a way which he noticed and his family noticed, and who could care for them? Well, Harry seemed to be the only one left to care for his grandparents. So Harry put off his schooling and cared for his grandparents as they died slowly over the next several years. He eventually went off to get a seminary degree and then drawn back into the life of the pastor and the clergy, and for the last number of years actually has been the assistant to the bishop of the Convocation of Anglicans in North America. As I've watched him, as I listen to him, as I take part in his life in some ways month by month, we have that kind of relationship. I'm impressed, really, that Harry has found a way actually to deepen his vision of vocation over the course of 20 years now. There were unexpected disappointments, and there were burdens upon his life. But you see, rather than being a cynic or a stoic about the worn-outness of this world, the diseases of this world, the deaths of this world, the disappointments of this world, Harry found a way to continue to know what was his to know and to love it at the same time.